Welcome everyone to another episode of Dynamics Corner. There's so many abbreviations in the world, and I'm excited about this one. I'm your co-host, Kris.
And this is Brad. This episode was recorded on February 9th, 2026. Kris. We had a fun discussion today. We were able to start off talking about 3-letter acronym trivia, and then we were able to talk about a great suite of applications and offering for customers within Business Central. And we were able to have a few additional tangents and talk about AI. With us, we had the opportunity to speak with Natalie and Ben from RUX Software. We just went from a Chevy Chevette to a Ferrari F1 vehicle with that. That was pretty good.
Sounds much better.
So, I know it's early in the morning, and before we get started, I came up with a few questions for you. And what these questions are is, I had a long conversation with Natalie recently, and we came up with this topic of 3-letter acronyms. So I have a list of 3-letter acronyms related to software development and ERP software. And I want to see if you guys know the answer.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
We're super ready.
I know it's early, but I'll give you guys the softballs first. API. What is API? Don't everybody answer at once. You should be like jumping off this. We're doing the Business Central trivia again soon. So
do you want it, Natalie?
No.
Application programming interface?
Correct.
Oh, Ben.
Ben and Natalie.
I was sweating for a second.
If you need to tap in Kris, you can tap in Kris too.
Still waking up.
SDK.
This is another technical one. Really testing us this morning.
If I have to jump from the technical ones
I'm blanking for now. Software. Development.
So close. Kit. That's right. Software development kit.
Yeah.
I may jump over some of these and we'll get into the ERP ones.
Let's
we'll see how you
ERP ones.
IDE.
Brad, what's going on right now?
He's just trying to stump us, Natalie.
I feel like he knows he's got 2 non-developers on the line.
We got the wrong people on the phone.
Okay. We'll jump to that. IDE's integrated development environment. Well, I mean, some of these we could do. Okay. We'll jump now. What is ERP?
I'll give that one to Natalie so she can get a softball.
Enterprise resource.
Enterprise resource planning.
Mm-hmm.
CRM.
Customer relationship management.
Okay. Mm-hmm. SCM.
Supply chain management.
Yeah.
WMS.
Warehouse management system.
Are these easier for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
See, I had some softballs
keep them coming.
Wait,
MRP.
MRP. Material resource planning. Do we get to go in the other way later? Like later, do we get to ask you? Do we get to quiz you at the end?
Absolutely.
Build
It
materials.
have to be something that is valid and within our space. All of these are within our space. I sat up late last night and I working long and hard to come up with these. So yes.
During the game.
Did we do BOM?
During the game.
Build material.
He did do BOM. Ben got it.
Yeah,
I got
it 3
materials.
times.
You guys threw me off. I have ADHD.
Remember, you can't say
KPI.
that when you're flying. You can't
That's
say
not 3
BOM.
letters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an interesting conversation to have. KPI. Ben, you know that one. I know you know that one.
Key performance indicators.
Yes, sir. EDI.
Ooh, electronic data interchange.
SKU. SKU.
Stock keeping unit.
RFQ.
Request for quote.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. POS. And we're not talking the profanity.
That's where I was
Point
going.
of sale.
point of sale.
I know that's where you're going. That's why I had to cut this off. We're keeping this rated G today, hopefully.
Right,
we'll see.
That's good to know.
MPS?
N as in Nancy?
M. I'm sorry. That's my Northeast accent.
Oh, you're
M.
good. MPS.
Yes.
Material planning system. Ah!
I should have just ran with NPS and gone Net Promoter Score and just said next question.
That's it. You should have. Master production schedule. I'm going to do another one. RUX.
Oh. What does it stand for, Ben?
It doesn't stand for anything.
I like the crowdsourced multiple people. Is it rental? UX? And I was like, sure, user interface or sure,
user
it can mean
experience.
whatever you want it to mean.
Rental user experience.
It can mean many different things. And with that, would you mind taking a moment to introduce yourselves? We'll start with Ben.
Sounds good. My name's Ben Cole. I'm currently a strategic sales executive at RUX. In July of last year, I had my business ERP Connect that merged with RUX, so joined the family. And as many people probably know, had the Business Central Toolbox, which was more the horizontal tools. And then I'll let Natalie introduce herself and talk about some of the industry verticals that we focus on as well.
Thanks,
Natalie.
Ben. I'm Natalie Lemke. I'm the CEO of RUX Software. We provide Business Central integrated solutions for organizations in the industrial asset management space. So think about businesses that have big commercial assets like cranes, trenching equipment, oil field equipment, and the related labor that services that equipment. And we deliver those solutions inside of Business Central. The business was relaunched August of last year under the new brand name RUX.
And now we know RUX means whatever
They
you
work
want it
with
to mean.
rocks, right?
Yeah.
We do.
With the rental equipment.
Mm-hmm. I like there's all sorts of fun alliterations you can do, like RUX rocks.
RUX
Yeah.
rocks.
RUX
runs rentals.
RUX runs rentals. I like that. I like the RUX. See, it is interesting because it does spark the question, and it also gives you the idea to have a 3-letter acronym trivia game first thing in the morning without telling anyone to be prepared for it. So we do appreciate you passing the exam that you had to take this morning. Your week can be set off right. But there's a lot of things I want to talk about. Ben, you had the BC Toolbox. I'd like to see a lot of your videos, and now I see you switched over to RUX with your wonderful videos on tips and tricks and Freaky Friday extravaganza that you do. And Natalie, would you mind telling us a little bit more about the rental portion of the RUX offering? I do have several questions on that. I know we spoke about it briefly when we had the opportunity to enjoy the cold weather at the Tampa event, not to talk about that again, but the rain that never came.
Yeah, the rain that never came and the cold weather that Florida has been experiencing. None of us know what to do. It's been below 50 degrees most days, and there was frost on the grass last week.
Oh, God.
Whoa.
Heaven help us.
50. We're above 50 where I'm at. That's crazy.
See, you're going to trigger me for this, though. I came back, and this is the coldest it's been since 1900, I believe. And all of my stuff is dead. Well, it's burned. Like, my entire backyard is brown. Like, my plants, trees, bushes, just brown. And the leaves are falling off from the cold that we had. Hopefully they all grow back. Because, we're not supposed to have frost down here. Like, this far south. You're further north than I am, but this far south.
We're not supposed to have it either. I'm not made for this.
Okay. Sorry for the brief tangent, but to jump into the RUX rental rocking offering.
Absolutely. So the easiest way to think about the rentals product that we provide is that it connects the fixed asset in Business Central with the revenue production process. So you use the 3-letter acronym during the game show portion, RFQ. So we connect with quoting. We have a module that delivers features like rental contracts, the association of that contract to assignment of assets, pricing of those assets through nonlinear pricing. So if you think about hourly rate, day rate, week rate, month rate, for renting that asset, different types of monetization. So usage-based monetization through time, hours. It could be connected to labor usage with that industrial asset, and then through the closing of that contract, the invoicing of that rental, periodic. I wrote a couple down I was going to say, what do we think MVP stands for?
Oh,
Minimum viable product?
yes. Minimum viable product. Oh, so you have something you want to ask. We can go back. We'll go back to the rental, but if we want to do a quick, we want to do a quick rewind and you can ask us some, go ahead.
I wrote down a whole page. Wow. I was thinking about it after our conversation. I was like, I wonder.
The conversation this morning? Or
well, you hold a whole page already?
No.
Whoa.
Natalie came prepared.
You came prepared.
I did have.
Ben, were you prepared?
I've got one.
Well, Ben may be voted off the island because Ben is not wearing his hat.
It has not arrived.
So when you get that hat.
Check the tracking information. It has not arrived.
Listen, that's the USPS. What's that acronym?
Oh, trust me. It means it's not going to be delivered on time. That's what I know the acronym means.
The USPS, that tracking system for the USPS is probably the worst thing invented since the invention of another bad invention. It's
We need the Domino's pizza tracker software developers to just take a weekend and fix the USPS tracking system.
I'm sure they could vibe code it.
We need a hackathon for those people.
I'm sure they could vibe code it because that's awful. All right, Ben. Well, when that happens to arrive,
we'll get it.
We'll get it. We'll have to, see it everywhere going forward, at the trade shows, at the Ben's Tips on Friday, and all those other things.
You can be a guest star on it's a feature Friday, but we could do a Freaky Friday where we switch bodies.
I know,
and you're me, but I'm you.
Oh, we'll do that. We'll talk after this. But yes, I'm sorry, Freaky Friday. I know it's Feature Friday, but it's that type of morning. I do appreciate your Feature Friday, by the way.
My not controversial, but just people always make fun of me for it, is what does EOD stand for? Well, it's end of day, right? But what does that mean to different people, right? Is your end of day 5 o'clock, 4:30, or midnight, right? I feel like those are the only options. So I was wondering, Brad and Kris, what are your EODs?
I was first going to say explosive ordnance detachment.
That
was my first one. What is my EOD? I honestly feel like never, because I feel like I just have one continuous D. To be honest with you, one continuous day. It starts early and ends late, unfortunately. I take breaks throughout the day. So my end of day ultimately is about 21:30.
So if you told somebody, I'll have it to you by end of day, it would be around 21:30 Eastern.
Depends how I feel during that day, because end of day would be like at 5 p.m. I really don't want to talk to anyone.
In the context,
when I go to bed.
In the context of like a deliverable, not a
meeting.
The
context in the deliverable, I would say 1700 is end of day. Is again. So my end of day, like when I work and stuff, is I usually will pause, eat for the evening. If I don't have anything major going on, I'll sit down and work until maybe 2100, 21:30. But if I were to coordinate a time with someone, EOD would be 1700.
Yeah, that's fair.
End of day for me, it's more, I want to respect the person that I said that to. So usually if they're East Coast, like Brad, and I say end of day, I'll make sure it's going to be 1700. But if it's like, I don't know, Ben, that's like maybe 2300 for you.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, I'll be on and I'll probably respond pretty quickly. So that's fair. Because Mine's about 11 p.m. Central.
There you go.
So that's
Midnight
Eastern.
for you guys. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Basically, it just means it'll be in your inbox before you wake up.
Okay, so you think this is an interesting topic because
I brought quality, not quantity.
No, it's how you infer words in a sense, because you said end of day. End of day to you means you'll get it by the morning, by the time you wake up. But what if somebody wakes up at 2300 Central?
If they're working night shift, I don't have any.
No, I understand. All jokes aside, that's interesting. So, well, then should we just say you'll get it by the morning?
By BOD? BOND?
BOD, yeah, BOD. That would be good. That's interesting. That's making me think.
We can make our own acronyms. We can make up our own acronyms.
You did. RUX.
Bond. BOND. Beginning of next day. That's my new acronym.
Oh, there you go.
You get it. You get it, Bond. Okay, Natalie, lay it on us.
Yeah, what do you got?
Ooh, I had a couple more. I had BOL.
Bill of lading.
Bill of lading.
Good work.
Are we pausing? Or are we buzzing in, or just?
No, just go for it.
So just shout.
Just go for
it. And Ben's participating.
Yeah. I mean, I think
you should too. That wasn't a question. That was a statement. No, I'm just kidding.
EUT.
EUT?
EUT.
Yep. EUT.
EUT. And what's it related to?
What we do.
You're not supposed to stump me. Executive user transformation?
End user training.
Ooh, I have never heard that before.
Yeah.
End user training.
So we do, train the trainer, but what's the thing that we really have to make sure gets done? The end user training.
So is train the trainer, triple T? TTT?
I suppose it would be. TTT. And then my favorites, ETC.
Etc. And?
Or.
Wow, you're stumping me. I'm going back to my software development acronyms. I know all those.
I know. I was
Oh, man. This is rough.
ETC.
Estimate to complete for all our project managers out there.
ETC.
ETC.
And it goes together with another acronym, EAC. Estimate at complete.
Estimate at complete. Trying to think, what do I say for what's your ETA?
EAC.
You're just like, I'm going to get it to you by EOD and it's going to be done and it won't matter.
You get the bill later.
Okay.
Or what we say in my house, you get what you get and you don't have a fit. Both work. Okay. And then MFA.
Multi-factor authentication.
Bingo, tied with SSO.
Single sign-on. Wow, now you're talking my language.
And then I wrote down FDD.
Functional
design document.
Yes. CRD, PRD.
Functional design document.
CRD.
CRD.
Yeah.
CRD.
There's going to be a whole episode of acronyms.
It sounds like a pasta.
I was going to say like
change request document.
Oh.
Change request document.
None of that. You had an EDI one, ASN.
Advanced ship notice.
Yeah.
Advanced ship notice. And then POA. This is another EDI one.
Point of acceptance.
Kris is going to get it.
POA.
POA. And it's an EDI
Let me
document.
go back to my friend here.
Purchase order.
Acceptance.
Purchase order acknowledgement.
Oh, acknowledge exit.
Oh, I had a typo. I put POT and it's purchase order transfer. So,
Pot.
Listen, I tried to type quickly and
I'll get you the pot by EOD.
I don't think the A and the T are next to each other on the keyboard. What's going on over there, Brad?
Here's on your ASN. Say that again. What's going on with the keyboard? I usually don't have a keyboard when I do this, to be honest with you. This is the first time that I've used a keyboard, so I'm able to type. Usually I just click, or I use my phone. But then I always see myself in the videos going. So now I decided to type today. Okay, so jump back to the rental software and the other RUX offerings. You have an interesting story with the whole rental software as well, too. Can you give us a little backstory of the rental software? I remember it being an interesting story, but I don't remember the story.
Oh, I'll give you the abridged version.
Yes.
Let's see, where should we start this story? A little over a year ago, I had the good fortune of partnering with Juxtapose and meeting Malcolm and Christian Roach, who had software that they had designed specifically targeted at oil and oil field service organizations. And they'd done a wonderful job building the software. They re-architected it when Business Central was released specifically to be a cloud-native solution. They had clients all over the world using the system, and it was time for Malcolm to retire. And so I had the very good fortune of stepping into the business and taking over the reins. The thing that was interesting is the software didn't have the technical debt that you typically see with a business that's 30 years old. The system had been well maintained. And because there were so many clients on the platform, we had a lot of really rich customer feedback about how the operating system was working, what was working well, where there was customer feedback and what could work better in the software. And I think that's something that when Ben and I first met and spent time talking with each other, one of the things that he is really passionate about as well is knowing and understanding, all right, this is how we think the software should be built. Here's what the functional consulting mind looks at. Here's what the developer mind looks at. Here's what the solution architect looks at and thinks this is what a well-architected and well-designed system should be. But really, it's clients with hands-on keyboards and using the software out in the field that make a big impact. And so we were able to take that input from clients in the beginning of 2025 and use that to inform our product roadmap over the last 12 months and into the next several years to say what are the things that would most impact the end users that are using the system. And the things that we hear consistently are the pricing calculator that we have inside the rental application is unique. It provides a lot of value to end customers. So connecting that fixed asset to the revenue production process, a very critical part is that pricing engine. And then the other thing is the service and maintenance of that asset. So if the asset isn't in good working condition, isn't getting planned and unplanned maintenance efficiently managed, that asset isn't out making money. And ultimately, that's what most of our customers are targeted at doing, is having their assets hard at work out in the field. And that fits nicely with the Toolbox apps. We want to make sure that that process is running efficiently in Business Central. So if the assets are hard at work out in the field, we want to make sure that the users that are tracking those things in the system are working efficiently in the application using the right productivity solutions.
Wow, that's
Excellent.
awesome.
So, no, it's a great. It was an interesting story, and now the rental. I say rental management, but I guess the rental management application. It's within Business Central. Works with Business Central online. Also works with Business Central on premises. And if so, how far back do you support?
Do we have clients on early teen versions of Nav? Yes, we do.
Wow.
Are we actively working to help clients find their way to the cloud through public or private hosting? Yes, we are. We had a call last Friday with a partner about a client who's on Nav 5.0.
Wow.
That is currently not using our rental software, but they're currently using a rental system and they're trying to sort out how they get to current.
Wow.
And we see that a lot because there wasn't a lot of really great rental software out 20 years ago. So what did people do?
Manual paper.
They made great decisions. Yeah, they made great decisions. And then they found some really smart nav software developers and were like, hey, let's do this.
Yes. Wow. Nav 5.0. That's a long journey. I hope I hope that journey goes well for them. That
Right.
No, it is. I'm just thinking back. It's just my mind wanders when I hear Nav 5. I think about where I was when Nav 5.0 came out and how the application has changed since then. So you do have customers back. You support Microsoft Dynamics Nav, but your primary focus is at this point is Business Central. And once you're in Business Central Cloud, then you can stay current. And I'm a big advocate of Business Central Cloud or even hosting to where you can at a point where you have those updates applied, because then you get the latest features of the software. And then also with applications such as yours, as features and functionality get released, you get to automatically get those or have those rolled into the application.
I got a quick question about, you had mentioned the last 12 months, you made a lot of improvements. You get a lot of getting feedback from your customers. Did you find that to be a huge challenge trying to get feedback from end users, or was it pretty straightforward to for them to provide their feedback to improve the product?
I think for us, asking the question to our clients and saying, one of the questions that we used, and I learned this from the head of UI UX at Juxtapose, Sloan Hastings, asking the question, if you had a magic wand, what do you wish the system could do? Clients are more than happy to tell you what they would do if they had a magic wand. And sometimes it's small things, like we got some feedback about subrentals, sell-offs, and being able to roll back transactions when somebody had processed something with the incorrect unit attached to it. So an individual who might be working in the yard that's assigning out units picks the wrong one when they're going through the process. And so what ends up getting processed in Business Central doesn't match what happened in reality, and a user needs to correct that. They're happy to tell you the ways that they wish things worked. And that question was a really powerful question. So we got great feedback using that question. The other thing that we did is we had a series of on-site visits.
I like that. No, I really think that's a good.
Yeah.
It's a good way to ask somebody, what do you think, what features do you like, or what do you think it would do? But the magic wand is a nice framing. I'm going to steal it. Just telling you.
You're all welcome to steal it. Yes, because it's also a forward-looking, it's not just what do you wish worked better. It's also sometimes users have really innovative process design opportunities where they're like, if I could just get from A to C instead of going through B, that can be really helpful feedback. And then we did a series of on-site visits. So our product team went on site to a variety of different clients, some in conjunction with marketing leadership, others in conjunction with our delivery team, to specifically with the goal of seeing how users were using the product in the field, and then what tasks still were getting done back at the office, and understanding what was working efficiently out in the field versus what was working efficiently in the office and where there were inefficiencies.
That is a great approach, because you get to see firsthand how the application's used, and then others, then you get to see. It's often what I see and hear is it's very easy to design an application or even do modifications for a customer if you're doing that based upon what you think it is that they're talking about. But if you can actually physically see, like I've always enjoyed going to having tours of facilities or not, because then you can see the physical challenges they may have with using an application that you have to take into consideration. You talked about having a delivery team. The delivery team for this application, do you primarily work and handle the delivery of the implementation of the rentals portion of the application, or do you have partners that do that for you, or is it a combination of both?
It's a combination of both. So today we have a few partners that have done several laps around the track that are very comfortable implementing the application. And those partners are fantastic at taking care of their clients. And there are some partners who are just getting started with our solutions. And so we pair our experts with their team to deliver the rentals portion of the product or the service portion of the product. The same is true for our Toolbox apps. So we have many partners that are very good at delivering those solutions. The configuration has been made very straightforward by our development team. And so the goal is really for partners to be able to deliver that to clients at the right time during their implementation or after they've gone live. But to the extent that a partner hasn't gotten that expertise yet, our team is happy to step in and, again, partner with that partner to deliver it to that client so that it gets configured in the way that's most optimized for their installation of Business Central.
And with the rental management, just if I want to unpack sort of what types of challenges that an organization may have with rentals and where this fits in, it can manage the purchase of the asset, rental of the asset with contracts over periods of time. And then also maintenance. Did you mention maintenance of the assets that are rented as well?
Correct. Planned or unplanned maintenance. So sometimes it's a piece of equipment that's due for an oil change, and sometimes a door broke on a crane that's on site and it needs on-site repairs. We also have rental swaps. So where there's a piece of equipment that's on the field and something's gone on, where that piece of equipment needs to be switched out for a comparable piece of equipment. So the contract can remain continuous and we can switch out that asset so that the job site remains productive and the asset that needs to be brought back to the yard can be brought back. And that could be because of maintenance or for another reason.
You are talking about mobile service of these rentals. So I'm assuming there's a back off portion of the application. How does the mobility handled? Is it handled with an external application or is it something that's within Business Central? In which devices?
Right now, the majority of our clients are using the Business Central mobile client. We do have a Power App. That Power App is used by a couple of our clients today. It's in beta. That Power App is something that will be extending in 2026. So it's something that we've gotten a lot of demand for. Mobility was one of the top 3 things that we heard from clients across the board. It does have online offline capability when using the Power App, and that's the most attractive part for folks is they need to be able to go wherever their equipment is, which may or may not have consistent cell tower range or Wi-Fi access.
In speaking with many people, that is one thing that I think gets often overlooked by many individuals. It's not even just within Business Central space as far as Business Central Online. It's the areas of the planet or the places that you go where you don't have internet connectivity. And how do you continue to operate? It's one of those things that you start to really start to think about with some of these organizations and applications is how do you handle it if it's geared towards that mobile or remote type of service type features and functionality.
It is pretty surprising, though, that a lot of people don't. There's still a lot of pockets where you don't have internet connections. So offline capabilities using Power Apps is actually pretty impressive that you guys are using that within your offerings, because that's also another area where people forget that you can extend Business Central using Power Apps as a external system that integrates fully with Business Central. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it looks like Natalie fell off again too, and one of the things that I was going to mention in terms of like looking for those improvements as well, which I'm sure you guys will appreciate, is just looking at the telemetry as well and seeing like where did people fall off, or like observing their behavior, right, rather than just their opinions or what they're asking for, because sometimes those things are great, and usually they are, but sometimes they could lead you down a rabbit hole as well of things that also might not be used right. But by actually observing their behavior and seeing like where they fell off, you could use the mobile app, for example, and then extrapolating that into a Power App or something else, right? Because we might build these things and go, this is all super cool, but then in practice, people might not think the same thing, right? Things we think are cool, other people might not, or they might not think they're useful, right? But by actually observing their behavior, we can actually see and then use that to improve on, which I think is like the coolest part about what we're doing.
Because when I was asking about the feedback earlier, I was thinking about, we have telemetry that tells you a whole lot, but telemetry doesn't tell you the things that they do outside of the system.
Yep.
And having to, Natalie, you mentioned about sending people out to just see them in person on site to see what are they doing that perhaps the application doesn't, track because they're doing it as a manual process to get proper feedback. I think I think in this industry, at least from my perspective, post COVID, it's almost like we forgot about that. We used to go on-site visits all the time to kind of get that feedback, even from an implementation perspective. We forgot that, hey, we should really maybe perhaps go visit them and do an on-site discovery to kind of prepare to get the best out of the system. So something to consider for a lot of people that kind of stopped doing that and getting that kind of feedback as well.
Yeah.
I want to just take a detour or a side rail because you mentioned telemetry. I am a telemetry fan, telemetry advocate, and I use telemetry quite often from the development point of view, just to see more of the technical aspects of the application on, performance and how things are working. And I've talked with many others that are using it to keep track of the features and functionality that individuals are using within Business Central, and then being able to adjust from there, whether it's training or other aspects of it. But then I was challenged one time, and you had mentioned it there. Is it almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a sense? Because is someone not using something because they don't have the training? Is someone not using something because it's not working properly? They're not aware of it, versus the alternative saying, okay, well, somebody's using this feature more, therefore we should enhance it more, and they're using this feature. That's where I was going with this. They're using this feature less, so we shouldn't use this feature, or we should focus less time on it. To me, it's almost, it's a catch-22 because it's, you can use the telemetry because you can see which features and functionality you use the most. And then if somebody's not aware of that feature and functionality, then no one's going to be using it. But if the light comes on for them and they learn about it, is it something they would be using? What is your thoughts on that? This is unrelated to the RUX application. It's just more of a, my ADHD. I guess you said I can't say that.
I think you're fine. I see both sides to it for sure. I think it also gives you opportunity on both sides, right? Because if it's a training thing, let's just focus on that first, right? We could review our training materials, our documentation, our videos. We could see if it is robust enough, or maybe focus some additional marketing and training efforts, right? We do a ton. We do things weekly at RUX and some larger things monthly, right? To obviously train people like we talked about before. So if it is a visibility thing, that's fairly easy to overcome, right? We have a list of all of our clients. We can email them. We can invite them to our webinars and things like that, right? Whereas if it's a technical aspect, right, we have the data. Obviously, that's a little bit it's easier internally to solve. It's a little bit longer of a process, right? Because there's more manpower that is needed to do that. But I look at some of the apps that I had built historically, right, before this, and there is that 80-20 rule, right? Where we had 30 something apps, but the focus was on the 20%, right? The 80% of the downloads were for 20% of the apps. So where did you focus your time? Well, let's make those 20% better so that everyone is continuously using those, and we use those as the flagship apps to then, kind of downstream get the traction for the rest of the apps. Not that they're any worse than the 20%, right? It's just like what gets traction. What we find a lot is like the ones that send the invoices and the statements and the dashboards and things, those get the most traction because the most people can use them. But, some of my favorite apps that we've built aren't even in that like top 10 list, right? Which is kind of funny. But Natalie,
what are some of those? Just out of curiosity, if you mind sharing. If you don't, then that's okay.
For which piece of it?
You said some of your favorite apps aren't in the top 10%. So which of your favorite apps aren't in that 10%?
I do
top
have
10, excuse me.
So what's not in the top 10 that I think should be in the top 10? That's the question that you're asking.
Yeah.
All right. Let me pull up my full list because I know there's quite a few. I think I've got a payments plan app that I think is sweet. It's actually your guys' friends, Steve Chinsky and Kim and Rob were the ones who actually kind of gave us the original idea for this, because we had our payments plan app. So I know they have a few clients that are using it. because they are the ones who asked for it originally. But I think that one's sweet. And we do have clients on it, but definitely not in the top 10. Trying to think, I've got a data imports and migration that basically takes config packages and makes it about 90% quicker, or a tenth of the time, if you want to think about it that way. That's used on a lot of implementations, but again, that might be one of those ones where it's more specific. And then probably my personal favorite that is kind of hidden in the pack, it's called auto create dimensions, which as the name kind of entails, you create a customer, let's say, it's automatically going to create a customer dimension and link that customer dimension back to the customer card. And then there's settings to choose how you want to default it, code mandatory, same code, no code, things like that. So if I had to pick 3, those would be my top 3. But the ones that are always downloaded are the invoice and statement delivery, the financial dashboard, the CRM, the advanced prepayments, handful of others. But
no,
yeah,
I can understand why those are popular. You
sure.
think back
I do too. Yeah.
that auto dimension create. I had, in the course of my time, I have actually done that mod several times. No, it's
sure. Yeah,
it just goes to show you what you're saying. It's a sweet,
yeah.
and I'm not like anything else. It's had that been in existence then, or this was before. I haven't done that in several years, but I remember doing it back in the nav days. Even more so when Dimensions first came out, and then late Navision, early nav days, working with that. So that. I was not aware of that one either. I do take a look at the Toolbox app list every now and then after seeing your Feature Fridays, to draw attention to them, which is good. No, that's interesting with that. So you did bring the BC Toolbox. Is it still called the BC Toolbox?
Mm-hmm.
And you brought that in.
BC Toolbox now.
The RUX BC Toolbox.
RUX BC Toolbox. I was excited to see that.
Not Ben's BC Toolbox anymore.
Well, yes, I'll start saying RUX's BC Toolbox, but please forgive me if I say Ben's, because it
takes some time to get used to. I know
it does. No, I was excited to see it and to see you pull it, and you pulling those features into the rental application or rental offering as well. Some of those features as well.
Yeah, as you can imagine, one of the biggest lifts over the last 6 months is getting everything to talk to each other. Right, we had completely 2 separate code bases over their 20 years. I was building it for about 5 years before we merged together. So yeah, the initial ones, Natalie, correct me if I'm wrong, but some of the dashboarding, the invoice and statement delivery pieces, the prepayments, I think those were kind of the 3 big ones. And we've got a really neat CRM tool that's kind of like a BC relationship management on steroids, but not quite D365 sales. Kind of sits in that middle piece. I don't know what your opinion is on the CRM in Business Central, but mine was always that it was kind of difficult to use, a little bit clunky. So basically just take that, make it super easy to use, right? Because it's hard enough to get salespeople, I know, because I am one now, to get them to log their leads in a CRM and log their tasks and I know, because I am not the model student for that. So trying to make it as easy as possible, right? Quickly add a lead or an opportunity, and then get it to flow all the way through a rental quote and a rental contract, or a service quote and a service contract. And,
that is an
underserved
to do that application. So that's awesome that you're extending that. I think it's perfect for the rental component too, because not everyone needs a full-blown CRM or CE product to do simple, especially for SMBs. And I think it works. It can work great, or it works great, especially if you extended it.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people too have 4 or 5 salespeople, right? So it's not like they don't have this huge, robust workforce. It's really just a handful of people in the field quoting deals, logging their leads, things like that. So it's you could go spend the money. And we've had people that started on ours 4 years ago, and now they're like, hey, Ben, I want to move to D365 sales. I go, great, because I'm a Microsoft guy through and through. Stay in the Microsoft family. That's okay. We realized that wasn't supposed to serve you forever. I hope you grow at such a rapid pace that you do come off of it later, because we have 30 other things that you can still use, right? It doesn't hurt my feelings. I like that they're growing, because then it actually gives them more opportunity to use other things that we've created that could help them in other ways that they couldn't use before because they weren't big enough either, right? So it's kind of cool to be in that position.
No, it's I've been a lot. I appreciate your comments, because I've been in many conversations lately with friction.
Yeah.
And it seems even more so now. The minute you add friction for somebody to do something, even myself, my conversations have been more with me as well as others. So any process that can be simplified, you're more likely to have somebody do it. If you make it complicated or there's too many steps involved.
Yeah.
That's one thing that individuals need to keep in mind when they're designing software, I think, today is how do you reduce the friction for someone to be able to do the job that they're trying to do? Because ultimately people just want to do their job and they're going to find the easiest way to do their job. It may not be what you're looking for. It goes back to what we were talking about. When you design a system, have people use it that use it, not people who think they use it, because I design and develop things all the time. But I only have to enter one sales order, for example. So it could be, and I'm using that as an example, right? I can enter one sales order and I'm like, it's not that bad. But somebody who may have to enter sales orders all day long for different types of products and have the lookups and customers, it may not be such a nice workflow. So I do think that getting that stuff out there and taking a look at the friction that is in place is important as well. So
yeah. Well, that's why
it's also there's a lot of people that I think if it is a lot of friction, they'll batch process their work. So they'll go perform several tasks. They'll write down what they did on their scratch pad. Then they'll force themselves to go sit down and batch process their work. This happens in all sorts of industries at all different kinds of companies, not just the ones that we see. And I see you guys laughing because
it's true.
It's so true. It doesn't matter that they had internet access. It doesn't matter that we built a mobile solution with online, offline capabilities, and telemetry will never tell.
Yeah.
Telemetry will never tell because it shows that the user hit all those features when processing those transactions and everything posted through. But the process is obviously not efficient enough that the user is willing to do it while they're actually performing the task at hand.
Oh, I know all about that batch processing. Kris knows what I'm thinking of too, because we see it all the time. And unfortunately with batch processing, that's where a lot of mistakes get made. And things get forgotten. And so I think reducing the friction's important as well, which is interesting. Well, do you have any more acronyms for us? Did anybody come up with any more?
No, I was going to say that's why my EOD's midnight, because Natalie will be like, hey, how do we take some stuff off your plate so you don't have to work? I'm like, it doesn't matter, because if you take stuff off my plate, then I'm just going to put more stuff on my plate. Like with these customers always telling us stuff, like Natalie knows I obsess over reviewing it because I really care that it's better, right? Because again, it was kind of my first baby, right? And I'll stay up all night just like trying to read into it and try to figure it out and solution around it, because it's like, yeah, what was the path where it broke down and how could it be easier? Because even with all the great CRM tools and everything that we have, like Natalie's list of 3-letter acronyms, I've got my stuff that needs to be like entered in CRM right here, right? And it's like the fastest way is to write it down, right? The fastest way is to write it down. Eventually it'll get into the system, but that's not like being a software guy. That's not a good system. I know it. I know it's a horrible practice, but it's just there's so many things to do.
I laugh.
You just can't get caught up.
No, it's one, it's a sickness that I think we all have.
It is.
You never get caught up. Two, the writing it down on a piece of paper. I can't tell you how many times I've tried dictation. I've tried shared applications so that it's on my phone and it's on my computer. It's even I use a Mac. So you even using tasks to try to use OneNote. I can name all the systems that I've had to quickly jot down the thoughts that I have. Yeah. And ultimately, like you said, it comes down to having a piece of paper. Sometimes it's because for some reason you can just quickly put it down. I'm trying notes in the Mac ecosystem.
Well, I think it's organized like your brain too, right? Because like the way you're writing is like the way your brain sees it, right? Whereas in like a OneNote, it's just chronological with bullet points, which it's like hard to look through, right? But I don't know. I'm usually pretty good about getting them in eventually. It's usually 2 or 3 days behind, but it will be funny because every once in a while, like Ann, our chief sales officer, be like, "That came in today, and you closed it the same day." I'm like, "Well, it's on my piece of paper for 4 days, but yes, I just closed it in like 2 minutes."
Telemetry won't tattle on you either. If you put it in the
I know.
system, the
I
system
know.
will
You still
align
did
with
it,
what
yeah.
you told your boss.
Yeah, just don't pay my house.
Ben's pulling off these same day sales, but you hit the key point. I've even tried mind mapping. I won't mention the product that I tried because it did give me the flexibility to work in the way that your mind works, because your mind does work in that it's not linear. Your mind is not a linear process. And I enjoyed doing the mind mapping. Unfortunately, it was only on the computer. And I loved it. And I'm not using that anymore because they changed the plan and didn't tell me. And they did it mid-cycle. So I said, forget it, I'm done, which is a whole other conversation. But mind mapping is helpful, but we need to have something that can work easily on the phone as well as.
Can I share something really quick? So I just sort of kind of discovered this several weeks ago. So talk about AI really quick here and putting all the notes. And Gemini, Google product, has a code called Notebook LM. So Microsoft also has one called Copilot Notebooks. And it does a fantastic job to collect everything that you just specific to maybe a task or something that you do on a daily basis. You could actually now take that information and interact with other agents or Copilot agents that can do some of those work for you, Ben. So even though like you don't have to like repeat re-entering stuff, you can use the notebook for an agent to pull up and perhaps enter in your own system for you on your behalf with a little bit more summary and flair.
One of that reminds me of one of Natalie and I's favorite things to do in our weekly meeting. We'll just ask Copilot, what are the 3 most important things that Natalie and I are forgetting to talk about that we need to ask each other this week? Look through all my emails and notes and stuff like that. And it's pretty spot on, usually.
Use
like,
notebooks.
I forgot about that.
I'll
try the notebooks.
I think I'll try notebooks. So you said Copilot has notebooks now?
Yeah, Copilot has notebooks, so you can collaborate together using notebooks. So you can add all your sources, your information of something that you're working on together, and then you can just collate all of that information and notebook.
I'm gonna try
Copilot will do it.
I'm going to try it and see, because I've been on that struggle bus for a long time. And now you're going back to, do you record all of your meetings? So you go back to your workflow is to have Copilot tell us all the things that we're missing, and you have it go through your emails. And I'm assuming you're using Copilot with an M365, so it can look through all of your other documents and such. Do you record the meetings that you have so it has access to the transcripts as well?
I do.
Almost all.
Yeah.
Almost all. Yeah. There's certain one-on-ones where if just Ben and I are talking, we're not recording that meeting, but every other collaborative meeting that we're in has been recorded throughout the week or is recorded through CRM and Teams, and I do like Planner.
Yeah,
so
I'm going down another philosophical road here outside of the offering you have, just to see workflows. We again, tangent number 5 for this. I have to get back onto not having tangents, but Ben sparked some insights there and thoughts for me as far as workflow and management, because I do like the Copilot. If people do have the transcripts, having transcripts for everything and sending out Copilot summaries all the time, I don't know how effective those are, because I don't know who reads them all. But in the context of maybe doing a weekly summary or giving a breakdown, it's a little I think helpful.
Let's ask some philosophical questions.
That's my life.
If you go to search for something today, so in February 2026, you go to search for something, what's the first you're working? So context is you're working at the job we all do. You need to find a piece of information. Where do you go first?
A piece of information regarding work, or just kind of like your personal
regarding
search?
Regarding work.
The first product that you use to search. Let me answer that really quick. So I typically go with Copilot. If it's work related, there's a work tab and then there's a personal tab. If it's work related, I do work because it does look at all the things that is related to me as a user. So that's the first place I would look at. Is I'm looking for something very specific, especially documents that like I don't know where the hell I put that thing, and it does a pretty good job. So that's usually where I go first, work related wise.
Brad, where do you go first?
I use Copilot for some things. And then it depends on what it is, to be honest with you. I try to use Copilot to get the information, whether Copilot would be in Outlook. You know, if I say, find me this, I use Copilot in Teams if I need to reference a Teams conversation. For some documents, that's the struggle sometimes, is where those documents located, where Copilot may not have access to it. But that's where I work now in 2026. If I need information outside of like looking for a work document, I'll jump to just a different model to use. I mean, sometimes I'll just even stick within Google and get the AI result, or I'll jump into Grok. I started using Claude more now.
For basic search, like personals, like, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And like, how would you, where would you rate us for Claude?
Claude, I like it. It's very, it seems to be, I use GitHub Copilot a lot for work because of development. I use everything within VS Code. I know everyone talks about the different environments, but outside of it, I use Claude, and I've started using that more recently.
Just really quick on the personal side, I'd use Gemini more than ever. Surprisingly, to see Google and Apple have a agreement that Apple could use Gemini, I think it's going to be easier, or I think it's going to get better, because how many Apple users are out there that still relied on Siri? Now it's going to change.
I will tell you I want to hear Ben's answer, but I will tell you what sealed the deal for me, and many people already know this about me. When I travel for work, my dad is the co-parent for my husband when I'm gone. And the way that I write instructions before I am gone is I will write like my bullet points out on a Post-it note. I will take a picture. I will upload it to Google Gemini, and I will say, please write a note with a loving, caring tone from me to my dad for him watching my children while I'm gone. I've got the prompt all structured. It's all set up, and it spits out the nicest email you have ever read in your life. It is so thoughtful. Gemini sounds just like me when I'm talking to my dad.
So you're a Gemini user.
Oh, you're a Gemini user.
For personal communications, I find it sounds so much more like me than Copilot. And so that's and now I've trained it, right? Because I do the same thing. I travel often enough that this is not a one-off situation.
See, it's about the context with that, because I want to get into a point, because on this, well, Ben, you'll be able to jump in and give you an answer. But if you train it, because I've given it, I've had it help create stuff. And I think, who doesn't do this in 2026? We'll look back on this in, 10 years. I may not be around, but people will look back in 10 years and go, I'm old, we'll go, whoa, you guys had to write? Like we go back, like, all those things. Like I say now, is back in the day, I used to have to put a dime in the payphone to use, to make a phone call. And, I remember when not the cell phone I remember was being invented, but I even remember when a portable phone was invented, because when I grew up, we had like the landline spends like,
yeah, you lost me.
But you train it. Like I give it references, and this is where I had mentioned in another episode, I really do need to just record my life, because I really want to see if I do a year's worth of recording of like all my conversations, right? And then just say, act like me, and to see how it comes out. But again, it does pretty well if you train the prompting.
I want to know though, Ben. I want to know your answer, because Natalie, you're a Gemini user. I know, Brad, you're starting to tap into the Gemini product. You can set it up to a personal intelligence where you feed it how you want it to respond to you, in a sense that you can feed it your personality. Like, this is how I write, reference
Yeah.
this. It is fantastic. So now he's learning from you because it's probably you fed it so much, but you can go beyond that. You can even do like, hey, when you're doing something,
Right.
this particular prompt, I want you to respond like this all the time. So it's
I
amazing.
do think I think it helps though. I use Gemini for personal, I use Copilot for work. And so I
Yes.
also feel like my work tone and persona is what I'm teaching Copilot, and my personal tone
Yeah.
and persona is what I'm feeding Gemini. But Ben, all right, tell us. Big reveal. What does Ben do? When you need to find information in 2026, where
Yeah.
do you go? And then what's your preferred?
So I would say on the similar topic for work, one of the first things when the Copilot Studio and everything was coming out, trying to think of use cases, right? My first use case was we had 30 something products that we had built. A lot of people are asking a lot of different questions. We're merging with this new team. Everybody has similar questions. So the first thing that I built was like an email type agent and also a knowledge type agent, where I took everything we've ever created from a documentation standpoint, put it in basically a support agent, you could call it, and you can query it for any question for anything BC Toolbox related, right? And it also learns from the emails, because if it tries to draft something and then I say, well, no, actually from, my personal experience, like this is a better way to do it, then it knows how to do it in the future. And then I've taken that over the last year probably and extrapolated it to many different extents. But from a work standpoint, Copilot for sure through and through, just based on like all of the data that we have in our domain, right? All the emails over the last 5 years, all the documentation, the videos, the transcripts, everything like that, right? Honestly, when I'm doing something for a personal standpoint, I have just been for so long, I'm trying to break it and trying to test out basically everything. And I've played around with everything, but like Brad said, the Google search with some of the AI responses is typically still where I start from a personal standpoint, just because I feel like from the first day I had a computer, it was Google it, right? I just can't break the habit. But I've used Gemini, ChatGPT, everything else. But I don't know, just Google Chrome, it's right there. Type it in the URL bar, and that's my starting point. So if we're just talking starting point, that's still typically my starting point if I just have something on my mind that I want to know more about.
I think it's great what you did with the agent, by the way. I think I'd love to see more organizations do that, because I think you could even then use that from a support queue. Like you said, it helps provide better service for your customers or users, because whomever is helping them, or even if they had access to it, if you had like a sales agent, just to maybe do some self-service support, it just helps them solve their problem or answer their question faster. But you bring up an interesting, I think that's great. I wish many organizations did that, because I think it would be helpful. And you could, from a user point of view of certain applications. But I think you started talking about the Google search. I think to me, it depends on what I'm searching for. I started to think about, like
That's
you said,
fair.
I think it's great. It does wonders for it, but I'll jump over to one of the other ones if it's more,
Specific.
I'm not looking for something. I'm looking for a structure of something. Like, what are the rules for, this type of this or that, or, fictitiously, create me a financial plan based upon this type of information. I'll go into one of the other ones more. But if I'm saying, something more like what I used to do a Google search for, as they say, I think the Google AI is pretty good.
Yeah. And depending on, I would agree with that. Depending on how long or like how much information you need. If it's just something quick, it's Google. If it's something longer, like Natalie and I are going to Vietnam for directions in May, right? And I have a larger trip than that planned, right? I'm going to go to Hong Kong first, then I'm going to go to Vietnam, then I'm going to go to Seoul on the way home. And I use ChatGPT basically to say, these are all the days, these are my flights, this, that, or the other. Basically, I've got 14 days, optimize it so that I can hit all the things I want to hit. And these are kind of like the 3 or 4 things I want to see in Hong Kong. These are the things I want to do in Korea. Vietnam's probably going to be mostly work consumed, but it gave me like day by day. And it's like,
wow.
Do you want to be more aggressive? Like, do you want to try to fit more things into this where you'll have less time at this museum or whatever? But like, we think you can get through it based on average time spent at the museum, right? Or like whatever it is, which is like kind of cool. Like, do you really want to spend 2 hours there, or do you just kind of want to fly through it in 90 minutes? Like, and then you can interact with it, of course, and say, yeah, the other one's a higher priority. I want to spend just an hour at this museum, but I want to spend 90 minutes at the market or whatever. And like, okay, your train commute at that time typically is going to be 27 minutes or like whatever. And it like, I mean, I'm very type A, so I loved it because it was like, I can plan it down to literally the minute, right? If you want to. Might be a little bit extreme, but that's just a recent example that I thought was super, that Google wouldn't tell, like Google won't do that, right?
No, I think that's great. And it's like you said, it's contextual, what are you searching for?
I did start with Google, like what are the top 5 things to see in Hong Kong, right? And then you could get travel articles and blogs and things like that. So like started there, and then it was like, okay, those 3 look cool. Let's plug those into ChatGPT. I want to do these 3 things. Anything else around, like anything close to there that I could just knock out quickly that's on anybody else's top 10 list or whatever, right? So I'd say, yeah, ChatGPT probably for me.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that when you come back. I'll have to catch up. I'll make a note just to see. I've heard a lot of people who do that, and I've rarely caught up with them after their trip to say, usually it's how was your trip, or whether you talk about some of the things your trip is. But you and I should have a conversation about. It doesn't even have to be recorded in a sense, but just I'm curious to see, from my own knowledge or experience, how well was that plan for you? With the trip, just to see if you followed, if it worked out well. Well, Natalie, Ben, I could talk with you both all day. We talk about many different topics. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today to talk about many things, including the RUX offerings with the RUX BC Toolbox, as well as the RUX rental. Push. I'm trying to come up with an acronym there with that. But if anyone has any questions or would like additional information on any of the product offerings you have, or even some AI workflow questions, what's the best way to contact you, Natalie?
hi@ruxsoftware.com is the best email address that comes straight into our head of growth, and she'll make sure the right person gets back to everybody.
That's genius. Hi.
Hi.
I like that.
I liked it too. She told me we were getting a hi email set up, and I was like, that sounds so great. Who doesn't want to email that?
Sounds so human. Hi.
I've never heard that before.
Software.
I've never heard that before. Usually people have like sales or something like that, but hi is good. Mr. Ben, sir.
LinkedIn, probably. Ben Cole, RUX Software. You can find me. I look like this, and just add me on LinkedIn.
And you'll know it's really him because in his profile, there's a combination of Feature Fridays and Toolbox Tuesdays and lots of Business Central-based knowledge articles.
Lots of good stuff there. I spent too much time. I spent too much time on LinkedIn, so you can find me there.
Yes, you. No, I don't think you do. But you're one of the faces I always see. Somebody sent me a message saying, "Man, every time I go into LinkedIn and I see your face, I like saying every time I go into LinkedIn, I see Ben Cole."
Hey, it means it's working.
You start your day with Ben.
No, you have some great videos and great tips. I appreciate them. Yeah, I'm just telling you that just personally because I like the short, quick, targeted. I think we're all in that ADHD world of give me what you have in 3 minutes or less. And I think it works well. But thank you both. I look forward to seeing you both soon and talking with you. I'm sure we'll see each other in April in person. I think you're going to Directions North America, I hope.
Yep, absolutely.
We'll be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exhibiting with the booth.
Excellent.
Nice.
Look forward to talking with you both there. Thanks again. Talk to you both soon.
Thanks so much for having us.
Awesome.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
All right. Thank you. Ciao. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Kris, for your time for another episode of In the Dynamics Corner Chair. And thank you to our guests for participating.
Thank you, Brad, for your time. It is a wonderful episode of Dynamics Corner Chair. I would also like to thank our guests for joining us. Thank you for all of our listeners tuning in as well. You can find Brad at developerlife.com. That is DVLPRLIFE.com. And you can interact with them via Twitter, DVLPRLIFE. You can also find me at matalino.io, MATALINO.io. And my Twitter handle is Matalino16. And you can see those links down below in their show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, and take care.